In the tumultuous world of Roman politics, where power struggles and personal vendettas ruled the day, Marcus Tullius Cicero stood as a beacon of republican ideals. A brilliant orator and staunch defender of the Republic, Cicero believed he had found a way to stave off the looming threat of autocracy. His strategy was to manipulate a young, inexperienced heir named Octavian, using him as a tool to defeat Mark Antony, whom he perceived as the Republic's greatest enemy. This plan seemed clever at first, but it was built on a series of dangerous miscalculations that ultimately led to the rise of Augustus, Rome's first emperor, instead of preserving the Republic. How did Cicero's ambitious scheme unravel so disastrously? Let's delve into the misjudgments and underestimations that paved the way for the collapse of the Roman Republic. In the chaotic aftermath of Julius Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, Rome stood on the brink of civil war. With Caesar gone, his loyal lieutenant, Mark Antony, sought to consolidate his power and position himself as the natural successor to Caesar's legacy. Cicero, a steadfast defender of the Republic, viewed Antony as a tyrant in the making, a threat that needed to be neutralized. Cicero had long harbored animosity toward Antony, whom he regarded as corrupt and dangerous, bent on undermining the Senate's authority. To rally support against him, Cicero delivered his famous speeches known as the Philippics. Yet Cicero knew that words alone wouldn't be sufficient to defeat Antony's growing influence. This is where Gaius Octavian entered the scene. The 18-year-old grandnephew and adopted heir of Julius Caesar, Octavian possessed little military experience and no significant political allies, making him appear to be the perfect pawn in Cicero's scheme. Cicero believed he could leverage Octavian's connection to Caesar to rally support against Antony, all while maintaining control over the young man. Cicero famously stated, "He is to be praised, honored, and then discarded." In Cicero's eyes, Octavian was merely a temporary tool, a means to rid Rome of Antony. What Cicero failed to recognize was that Octavian, despite his youth and inexperience, was far more ambitious and politically astute than anyone had anticipated. From the moment he arrived in Rome, Octavian demonstrated a remarkable ability to build alliances and secure military support. He quickly gained the loyalty of Caesar's veteran soldiers by promising them land and wealth, positioning himself as the rightful heir to Caesar's legacy. Octavian understood the immense weight of his name and was determined not to allow Cicero or the Senate to dictate his future. While Cicero believed he had found an ally in Octavian, the young heir was quietly maneuvering both sides of the political conflict, publicly aligning himself with Cicero to gain legitimacy while secretly consolidating his own power. Octavian's ultimate ambition was not to restore the Republic, but to seize control of Rome for himself. Cicero's grand plan unraveled completely in 43 BCE when Octavian, Antony, and Lepidus formed the Second Triumvirate, a three-man dictatorship that divided control of the Roman world among them. This alliance marked the end of Cicero's dreams of restoring the Republic. The formation of the Triumvirate was a stunning betrayal for Cicero, as Octavian, whom he had championed, now allied himself with Antony, the very man Cicero had tried to destroy. Cicero's belief that he could control Octavian had been a fatal misjudgment. Instead of being a protector of the Senate, Octavian had joined forces with Antony to crush their mutual enemies, starting with Cicero himself. One of the Triumvirate's first actions was to issue a series of proscriptions, hit lists targeting their political enemies, with Cicero's name at the top. Octavian, once Cicero's supposed ally, now sanctioned his execution as a political necessity. In December 43 BCE, Cicero was captured and killed by Antony's forces, marking the end of his career and the Roman Republic as he had known it. With Cicero out of the way and Antony subdued, Octavian was free to pursue his ultimate goal, absolute control of Rome. Over the following years, he would defeat Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, securing his place as the unchallenged ruler of Rome. In 27 BCE, Octavian was granted the title Augustus, becoming Rome's first emperor. Cicero's efforts to save the Republic had failed spectacularly. Instead of preserving the Senate's power, Cicero had unwittingly paved the way for Octavian to dismantle the Republic's institutions and establish an autocracy. The Senate, once the heart of Roman political life, became a mere ceremonial body, and the era of the Roman Empire had begun. Cicero's miscalculations were rooted in his idealism. He believed in the principles of the Republic and thought that through rhetoric and political maneuvering, he could preserve its institutions. However, he failed to recognize that the forces tearing the Republic apart, military power, personal ambition, and shifting alliances, were far more potent than any speech or senatorial decree. In hindsight, it's clear that Cicero's belief he could control Octavian was tragically misguided. But could he have done anything differently to prevent the rise of the empire? Some argue that the Republic was already too fractured, and no amount of political maneuvering could have saved it. Others believe that Cicero's failure to adapt to the changing realities of Roman politics, his refusal to acknowledge the power of the military, and the ambitions of figures like Octavian, sealed the Republic's fate. By the time Cicero tried to intervene, the Republic was already in decline. The system of checks and balances that had once governed Rome had eroded, and military power had become the dominant force in politics. Cicero's idealism, while admirable, was out of step with the realities of the time. His belief that Octavian could be a temporary ally in the fight for the Republic ignored the larger forces at play. Cicero's political miscalculations, particularly his underestimation of Octavian, played a pivotal role in the collapse of the Roman Republic. His belief that he could control the young heir of Caesar and use him to defeat Antony was tragically misguided. Instead, Cicero's actions paved the way for Octavian to rise to power and become Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. The rise of Octavian and the fall of Cicero serves as a powerful reminder of how personal ambition, political miscalculation, and the shifting dynamics of power can reshape history. Cicero's legacy as a defender of the Republic is undeniable, but his missteps ultimately contributed to the very outcome he sought to prevent: the end of the Republic and the dawn of the Roman Empire. If you found this analysis of Cicero's downfall and the rise of Octavian fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more intriguing historical insights. Join the conversation in the comments below and let us know what you think about the impact of personal ambition on political outcomes. Let's explore history together